Work hard. Be somebody. And be something more than what you see in the mirror. Let the world be your mirror. Don't let them judge you, because the mirror can't judge you. You judge what you see in the mirror.
What's up, YouTube? It's Tyler Knight. You're tuning into Ty's Life. I'm about to be reacting to a video called How Good Was Wizards Michael Jordan. This video is by a channel called Nonstop Sports. Yeah, I haven't watched their videos before, so this should be interesting. Yeah, Michael Jordan was still nice when he was on the Wizards. So yeah, he was putting up 40-point games and stuff like that. He was still averaging like 20-something points a game, if I'm not mistaken. It was like 22 points, I think, the last time I checked. When I checked Michael Jordan's stats in those years, I think it was like around 20 to 22 points when he was on Wizards. So yeah, about to get into this video. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible. So hit that subscribe button. Hit the button beside the subscribe button, the notification bell, so you can be notified when I post. Yeah, I'm trying to get lit this summer, and I'm trying to take over this summer. I'm trying to be more consistent. So hit that subscribe button. If you don't, you're missing out, I'm telling you. But yeah, for real. So let's get into the video.
The Last Dance was one of the hottest documentaries this year, even though the real last dance of Michael Jordan happened 5 years after the story in the doc. In 2001, Jordan unretired for the second time and suited up in a blue Wizards jersey. Some people say that his 2 Wizards years tarnished his legacy, and some praised MJ even more. So what's the real truth? And how good was Jordan in Washington? Was he really washed? Or did he prove once more that he's the GOAT? Watch the rest of the video to find out.
He was nice. Come on now.
After The Last Dance. In 1998, MJ and Phil Jackson went to the karaoke bar, and Jordan chose The Careless Whisper by George Michael and sang, "I'm never gonna dance again, the way I danced with you," looking gently in Phil's direction. Okay, I totally made that up, but Jordan indeed said that he wouldn't be playing unless it's for Phil Jackson, since the Bulls GM Jerry Krause didn't want to re-sign Phil, and Scottie Pippen wanted to get his first massive paycheck. The Bulls fell apart, and MJ fulfilled his promise and retired for the second time. And then in January of 2000, Michael came back to the NBA, but he didn't wear a jersey. Instead, he slipped into a suit and tie as a minority owner and president of basketball operations for the Washington Wizards. The team was bad and finished that year with a 29-53 record. And they got even worse next year with 10 wins less. But there was hope on the horizon. They got the #1 pick. MJ had the chance to get a blue chip prospect, and he famously opted for Kwame Brown, the #1 high school.
I don't know. That was a bad pickup, to be honest. With guys like that coming out of high school, you never know. It's a gamble. It's always a gamble. And even Jordan was talking about that in another video, where if you watch my last video, not my last video, the video after that, like my last Jordan video I reacted to, he was talking to Oprah, saying how young players don't work for the money that they're getting. Jordan was saying he had to work for all the money he's getting. He had to go to work. In his rookie season, he averaged 28 points. He brought them to the playoffs in his second season, I believe. And then they kept on getting better. They kept on working their way up to the playoffs, and then he ended up making it to the finals and doing those 2 three-peats. So that's around the time when he was getting the big bucks, when he was like really on the horizon of putting in that work. But guys that come into the league right away are just getting money right away. So basically, he was betting. He was even saying like that's the business now. He doesn't agree with it, but he's part of that. He's part of that for sure. Because when he got Kwame Brown, he based it off of potential. Yeah, basically, he just based it off of potential because he was dominating high school ball. But look at him. He's huge. Like, he's probably like what, 7 foot, 290, something like that. correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, the guy's big. Like he's gonna get his in high school. So yeah, it is what it is. But he based it off of potential. So I really did not agree with that pick. I can't remember who else was in that draft and who they missed, who they could have picked up. But all I know is that wasn't a good pick because it was just based off of potential. Like Kwame Brown, I don't think Kwame Brown is that bad as everybody says he is, but he's not a number one pick. He's not a guy you can bet on for your organization to be a potential franchise player. He might have looked like that because he was that big coming out of high school and he was so dominant in high school. But you're just betting on him. Like, honestly, Kwame Brown probably should have went to college, to be honest, so he can polish his game before getting to the NBA. But he never had a chance to do that because he just came straight from high school. So yeah, he was a bust, and it's what it is. But yeah.
Player in the country. Jordan saw something in Kwame, and he believed he is the cornerstone that will immediately turn the Wizards into a winning ball club. Also, he knew a guy pretty good at basketball, a guy who was on the floor with the team in every practice and who was itching to make another comeback. It's an itch that still needs to be scratched, and I want to make sure this itch doesn't bother me for the rest of my life. I'm just going to play the game of basketball that I love. It's not about the money. Indeed, it wasn't about the money. Jordan the GM gave Jordan the player the smallest salary on the Wizards, and MJ gave all of it to the victims of the 9/11 terrorist attack. It really was just about the game for him. And because of that competitive fire that never ceased to burn, and that voice in the head who kept telling him he is still better than the young guys who took over the league from him.
Yeah, he didn't need the money. I'm pretty sure his Jordan Brown was on the rise back then too, and he was getting money from like on the rise. He's probably making millions of dollars from his shoe deal. Cause after winning, going like doing two three-peats with the Chicago Bulls. So yeah, Jordan was probably making millions of dollars around that time. So yeah. That's what it is. Like, he doesn't need the money, for sure. Just loves the game of basketball.
How good were the Wizards? The Wizards had a young Richard Hamilton, who was in his third year, and who was turning to be one of the most promising shooting guards in the league. And that was about it when it comes to quality players with potential. The rest were either older veterans on their way out, or young role players. Of course, there was also Kwame Brown, who, by the time the season started, was already crushed by Jordan, who insulted him at any chance he got. Jordan never changed his ways, and just like he trash-talked all of his opponents, teammates, and Jerry Krause, he was maybe even worse to Kwame. The 19-year-old kid couldn't take it, and he played with zero confidence and was basically unusable on the court. Nobody on the team averaged more than 10 points that year, other than Rip Hamilton and Jordan. The Wizards were the same team that won 19 games the year prior, plus Jordan and Kwame. MJ thought it would be enough to be competitive, but he overstated his team and himself. Return of the Mac. Before the season, Jordan was working tirelessly to get himself in shape. He trained every day with his personal trainer, Tim Grover, and held private training camps with various NBA players to get himself in game shape. So, when the season started, Jordan wasn't rusty. In the first 2 weeks of the season, Jordan scored over 30 in 4 of his 8 games. In the 9th, he poured 44 on the Jazz, picking up right where he left off in 1998. After the first 10 games, he averaged 27.4 points, 6.3 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals. And it's...
yeah, his team was still nice. His team wasn't nice. He was nice. He's still nice.
It seemed like he had never left.
He's still nice. Like, yeah, it seemed like he never left because he wasn't the same. He wasn't as athletic. He was just like he still had the same skill set. Turnaround jumper. He can finish at the basket, do that same pump fake where he palms it in the air. That'll get you every time. Yeah, his mid-range game is still lethal, probably the best mid-range game of all time, and he still had that in his arsenal. So he still was gonna get his buckets. Feel me?
As his stats were virtually the same to the 1998 regular season. He was in the MVP race and made it easy for the world to fall in love with him once again. However, his play wasn't reflected in the team record, as the Wizards only notched 2 games in the win column. They started the season 5-12 and were at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. Also, Jordan's stellar play at the beginning of the season wasn't sustainable at the age of 38. He was still Michael Jordan, but he wasn't Air Jordan anymore, or at least not all the time.
Yeah.
And even though his totals were still looking good, Mike became an inefficient volume scorer on a bad team. He shot 40% in those first 17 games, a landslide from his career average of 50%. MJ was still fundamentally sound. He could still see every play, and he was still 6'6", strong and confident, but he didn't have the same speed, and he didn't have the legs under him to shoot efficiently. But if you know anything about Jordan, you know that he hates losing more than anything. After those 17 games and a 5-12 record, the Wizards won 9 in a row. Then they lost a couple, and in the second of those 2 losses, MJ had the worst game of his career. In 25 minutes on the floor, he shot 2 out of 10 and finished the game with 6 points, which snapped his record 866 game streak of double-figure scoring, and the media went ballistic. After the game, Jordan was down on himself. On the bus ride from the arena, he sat next to Doug Collins, whom he hired to be the coach, and asked him, "Do you think I can still play?" Collins said, "Yeah, of course. I only took you out because we were down by 25 in the fourth and wanted to keep you fresh for the next game." MJ was satisfied and said he did the right thing, but he needed the confirmation and the assurance that his coach still believed in his abilities. 2 nights later, he responded in a big way. He scored the first 3 times he had the ball, and he finished the game with 51 points, going 21 for 38 from the field. He was the oldest player ever to score 50 in an NBA game. He followed that up with a 45-point, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steal effort against the New.
Okay, I didn't know about this. That's a crazy stat line. How old was he? 45 or whatever? 45, 10, 7, and 3. He almost had a 40-point triple-double. He could have had a 50-point triple-double. 5 more points, 3 more assists. Just adding on to that. But the 3 steals also, like, that's a crazy stat line to have when you're that old. Like, that's very active. Like, he had to play all those minutes, and it's very hard to get a triple-double, and he almost got a 40-point triple-double as a 40-year-old. That's crazy. That's ludicrous. Like, how do you do that? He wasn't the same Jordan athletically, but you can tell, like, his games where he just, like, goes off, where he still has that same skill set where he can just give your team 40. But from what I know about Jordan, he doesn't have a lot of triple-double games. So for him to get a 40-point triple-double at this age was very surprising. That's crazy.
Jersey Nets, including scoring 22 points in a row during one stretch. In the game against the Cavaliers, the Wizards were down by
22 points in a row? What was this guy on? Yeah, he doesn't have the legs that he had back in the day, but he's still giving fans 22 points in a row without missing. Back to back to back to back. That's torture. Whoever is guarding him, is getting. Whoever is guarding him is getting the works. 22 points back to back to back to back to back. Like, come on, like, that's crazy. At 40 years old, whoever was guarding him, they had a bad night, and after they left, they cried in the car probably. Because this is a 40-year-old Jordan. He's old, and he's giving you 22 points straight. Like, I guess you can say, okay, he's the greatest player of all time, but at that point, he's not in his prime. He's nowhere close to his prime, and he's still doing nonsense. Like, 22 points straight. Like, could you even like think about that? So like you guarding a guy and he gives you 22 points straight, back to back to back buckets. It's torture. I feel bad for that guy.
Points.
Whoever was
With
guarding
1.6 seconds left, Michael then hit a mid-range jumper for the last buzzer beater of his career in a game.
Wait, oh, was it that game? If it was Sean
Game
Marion,
against his former club.
That's crazy.
After enduring Ron Mercer's trash talk and having his jumper blocked, he responded by pinning Mercer's layup against the backboard with two hands and trash talking him on the way back up the court. It was a game-winning play and one of the most spectacular blocks by Jordan, or anyone for that matter. It was even more impressive that it was done by a 39-year-old who spent his last 3 years playing golf, drinking, and smoking cigars. By the end of the season, Jordan notched back-to-back 40-point games, but also 4 more games where he failed to reach double figures. And that's where the answer lies about Jordan's time with the Wizards. Yeah, he could still play, and yes, he could still be dominant. But it wasn't the kind of dominance we grew accustomed to, and it didn't happen every game. Jordan finished the year early due to a knee injury that required surgery. And the Wizards didn't make the playoffs with a 37-45 record. MJ played 60 games in the 2001-02 season, and he averaged 23 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 5.2 assists. Those numbers look great in a vacuum, but when you look at Jordan's efficiency, you can quickly tell he didn't have an overly successful season. Jordan took 22 shots per game, far more than he should have for a player shooting 41% from the floor and 19% from three. He was second to last in effective field goal percentage.
Yeah, the 19% from three, that's terrible. That's terrible. He wasn't really a good three-point shooter to begin with. Like he was a decent three-point shooter actually. He just didn't put up that much shots, and I think he had the legs. When his legs were so strong that like no matter where on the court, but from like the 3-point line to like mid-range or whatever, he was making shots. He didn't take a lot of threes, but he still would be making them. But I guess now he's like, that's not his game to take threes. And I guess when he got older, he kind of had to take threes because he's not as athletic. And his shooting ability from the 3-point line kind of got exposed. Everybody knows that Jordan's not a 3-point shooter, but like now he's older, his legs are bad. He has to shoot threes. It's just like he's not a 3-point shooter at all. So I could get that, but that's not good. That's not good. That's how you know he's getting older. But yeah, his mid-range game is still crazy. That's what he's basically scoring 25 points off of just mid-range. He's been doing that his whole career, but it was like mid-range, give you finesse layups, dunk on you, he have a three occasionally here and there. So yeah, but 23, 5, and 5. That is ridiculous for a 40-year-old. Even though they're not winning games, he's still dominant. He's dominating his defender every game, basically. Just the 20 points in a row. That's mind-boggling. That's more than just dominating the defender. That's just like that's terrorizing the defender. That's bullying the defender. That's bullying. That's bullying. You're picking on the guy. You're going at him like 22 points straight, and you're not missing. Just telling them, give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball. He keeps on scoring. It's like that's torture.
Out of all players who qualified for the stat, and 169th out of 177 qualified for true scoring percentage.
A whole lot of MailChimp smarts can mean even more sales. Working with videos can be frustrating. Luckily, UniConverter makes things simpler. With over 1,000...
The real Last Dance. In the offseason, Jordan the GM wanted to help Jordan the player. He traded the best young player on the team, Rip Hamilton, for a more experienced Jerry Stackhouse. Trading away Hamilton was a mistake, and Jordan once again proved his short-sightedness in making decisions. The team wasn't that much better, and the season went pretty much the same as the last. Jordan, who was a year older and was battling a lingering knee injury, still had some juice left, but he had to squeeze really hard to get a full cup, and it didn't happen all the time. He scored over 43 times, becoming the first 40-year-old to score over 40 in an NBA game. He also had 7 more games where he failed to score 10 points. His defense wasn't at the level it once was, and numerous players took the opportunity to put up numbers against Jordan, something that was unimaginable in previous years. Kobe dropped 55 on him after Jordan taunted him that he could wear the shoes but could never fill them. Michael was more rational with his shots in the second year and shot 44% from the floor, and it was enough for 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 3.8 assists for the season. Jordan played in all 82 games, but once again, the team went 37-45 and didn't make the playoffs. The highlight of the year was definitely the All-Star game, where MJ was selected as a reserve after he rejected the offer from Allen Iverson and Tracy McGrady to take their starting spots. He ultimately accepted it from Vince Carter. At halftime, Mariah Carey performed a special tribute to him, donning dresses of both his rookie year Bulls jersey and his final year Wizards jersey, as his career highlights played on giant screens behind her. It was a proper send-off, worthy of a star that was Michael Jordan. In the game itself, MJ didn't shoot it particularly well, but he did score 20 points, and most importantly, hit a tough fall-away jumper over Sean Marion to give the East the lead with less than 5 seconds to play. It appeared to be a game winner, but the West scored again and prevailed in overtime. Still, Jordan proved that he still belongs with the best players in the world, at least for one game, even though it was clear he wasn't the best anymore. A mediocre dessert to a great meal. If you want a recap of Jordan's time with the Wizards, you'll get different answers, depending on who you ask. Jerry Stackhouse said that he wished he had never played in Washington, because everything was still going through Michael Jordan, even though it was obvious he wasn't the same player anymore. Kwame Brown was miserable during Jordan's years there, and his career would have certainly been better if he didn't play with MJ as a 19-year-old. The Wizards owner Abe Pollin wasn't thrilled with Jordan either, and he relieved him of his GM duties shortly after the last season of Jordan as a player. If we compare Jordan's last years to some of the other NBA greats, we'll see some similarities. The greatest players who ever did it, if they took care of their bodies, were still extremely effective at an advanced. Tim Duncan was named to the All-NBA and All-Defensive team in 2015 at the age of 39. Kareem made the first team All-NBA in '86, also age 39, and he averaged 26 points in the playoffs that year. Karl Malone averaged 28-5 at the age of 39, so it's not unusual that Jordan was still able to play. But maybe the best quote about Jordan's Wizards years came from his agent, David Falk. "I just don't think it was a good dessert to a great meal." In the words of De La Soul, Mike was certified hot, and then he dropped to lukewarm. However, that last 2 years didn't affect his legacy, and the unathletic Jordan, who had to pump fake 3 times to get a separation for a shot, was soon forgotten. People like to remember the good things, and the lasting image of Jordan will always be that shot over Russell and celebrating his 6th title with a cigar in his mouth.
Exactly. So yeah, that's it for the video, man. This was a great video. Very interesting. I'll probably watch more of what's the channel name called? Nonstop Sports. I'll probably watch more of their videos because this video was really good. It was very interesting. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, share. I'm about to trying to get to 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible. So yeah, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell beside the subscribe button so you can be notified when I post. Yeah, stay blessed, stay lit, and I'm out.